Okay, the regular meeting of the AADUSD Board of Trustees is called to order on March 12th, 2026 at 6:30 PM. Can I get roll call, please?
Photograph here.
Jesus here.
Mazer.
Brianna Taxoni here. Lester Mascon is absent. Agenda for the regular board meeting for March 12th, 2026. I'll move it in. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Good evening. There are no changes to the board agenda for March 12th, 2026. Thank you.
Okay, discussion? Call for question. All those in favor?
Photograph aye.
Jesus, aye.
Mazer.
Brianna Taxoni, aye. 2A, public participation. Do we have any public participation?
There are none at this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. 3A, closed session discussion items. We may discuss conference with labor negotiators, public employee discussion, discipline, dismissal, release, conference with legal counsel, and/or student matters. 3B, adjourn to closed session. I'll move to adjourn to closed session. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Call for question. All those in favor?
Photograph aye.
Jesus, aye.
Mazer.
Brianna Taxoni, aye. We are adjourned to closed session at 6:31 PM. The regular board meeting of March 12th, 2026 will reconvene at 7:31 PM. Royce Mays, can you lead us in the flag salute? Thank you, Mr. Mays. Mr. Falsgraf, can you read the civility statement, please?
Yes, when conducting the district's business, we will strive to communicate clearly and concisely with a respect for the time of others, listen objectively, carefully considering the opinions of others, understand the counterproductive effects of disruptive, demeaning, and intimidating behaviors, understand and respect district policies and procedures, and maintain a respect for the rich history of the district and the efforts of others who have served in the past. I cannot get this any closer to me. Does everybody see that? Okay?
Thank you. 5A, report of action taken in closed session. The board took no action in closed session. 6A, public comments, recognition, and reports. Dr. Sahakian?
At this time, I don't see any public comment cards pulled online or in person. Thank you, Ms. Taxoni.
Thank you. All right, 7A, ADA representative. CSEA representative. Student representative to the board.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So to start off with Little Owls Learning Center and Meadowlark, they both engaged in Read Across America activities and had guest readers earlier this month. I heard everything went really well. Teachers of both campuses are preparing for parent-teacher conferences March 19th and March 20th. Award ceremonies are at the end of this month on Thursday, March 26th and Friday, March 27th. Kindergarten through 4th grade are doing really well with their iReady usage in both math and reading. So math is at 94% and reading is at 92%. Our February students of the month are Leonidas Mendoza, Awesome Ton, Valentina Rodriguez, Isabella Limas, and Georgia De Jesus. Little Owls Learning Center TK and Preschool will be taking a field trip over to the Acton-Agua Library on March 16th and March 17th. Over at Meadowlark, 3rd and 4th grade are preparing for state testing in May by taking practice assessments. Then, 3rd and 4th grade will begin their March Madness basketball tournament during lunch next week. We'll see who wins. 4th grade is rehearsing for their upcoming play in April called Gold Dust or Bust. I did this play in 4th grade. It should be entertaining. Moving over to High Desert, we would like to highlight Denise Seymour and Paula Herrera for LPAC testing. They started this week, and we're very grateful to Mrs. Seymour and Miss Paula for their amazing work in preparing our students for their LPAC test. They've had a 31% of students redesignate for the past 2 years, which is a lot more than state average 13%. Past events, last week the Dance Force team competed, and I heard they did a fantastic job. We've had the largest number of boys participate ever, and big thank you to Mrs. Boughton and Mrs. Beaumont for their dedication to the program. Last night was Hawks Steam Night, and I also heard it was fantastic. So students made their own battle bots. They had a chess tournament that got really upset, and when they did the egg drop off the gym, more eggs survived than ever before. So yeah, that were always really fun. So thank you so much to Mrs. Jen Olson and the High Desert Booster Club for their creativity in making these events possible. Last Friday, the 8th graders visited the Museum of Tolerance for a very educational trip. They were able to visit the Anne Frank exhibit for the first time, and it brought what they had been reading in school to life. Thank you so much to Mrs. Seymour for making this trip possible. So upcoming events, next Wednesday, March 18th is Arts Exploration Day. So there will be 14 presenters lined up to help students participate in 3 different sessions to be immersed in the arts hand-on. That sounds really fun. So thank you to Mrs. McKelvey, Mr. McKelvey, Mrs. Lundquist, and Mrs. Owens from Vasquez for partnering and providing sessions for the middle schoolers. The next Coffee with the Counselor session is Friday, March 20th at 8:30 a.m. High Desert's amazing counseling team will be talking with parents about how they can help reduce testing anxiety as students enter state testing season. Then the third quarter Medal of Honor Awards will be presented on Monday, March 23rd. 5th and 6th grade awards are at 8:15 a.m. 7th and 8th grade awards are at 9 a.m. Everyone's invited to come celebrate. Now regarding athletics, both boys and girls varsity soccer are wrapping up their seasons. The girls made it to 2nd place, and the boys are in 3rd. The championship is next Tuesday, March 17th, starting at 3 p.m. Thank you to the district and to Vasquez for hosting the championships again. So we'll see how that goes. Moving on to Vasquez, March 5th, the National Honor Society students visited Meadowlark to participate in Read Across America with the elementary students. Monday, March 9th, staff participated in professional development sessions focused on data review, special education training, CPR certification, and year-long instructional planning. Us students appreciate the day off. This week, several staff members are participating in Acellus and Aries training. These are really important in expanding the program. So there's more options for students to ensure that we can all properly code and report all the amazing work happening for our school. So the state can accurately recognize and credit our district. This has been an issue in the past, and the counselors are, they're training and they're like, how do I say this? They're appreciating the opportunity to improve their training. Saturday, March 14th, Vasquez will host a cheer clinic as part to grow the cheer program. I'm really proud to report that the cheer program has received very high praise from other schools for our team's strong technique. Then our boys basketball team headed to state semifinals and made history as the first Vasquez boys basketball team to do this. They ultimately lost in the very last second of the game, but we're really proud of them. And they had an amazing season. Baseball, softball, and track have all started. Track had a meet today, but I have not yet heard about the details. But knowing them, they're doing well. Regarding Vasquez football, Coach Perez has been rehired as head coach, and we're all anticipating another amazing season. The Vasquez staff thanks the maintenance crew for installing posts and chains around the food line to keep the process more orderly. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Always a fantastic report. D, Superintendent Report.
Thank you, President Taxoni. I'd like to share a brief update tonight, short and sweet, on our strategic plan update, goals 1 and 3, student achievement and community engagement. Kindness Week was the week of February 23rd, was celebrated across 4 of our sites, led by the We Care AADUSC team, as well as support from our counseling teams. Through engaging activities and student participation, the week promoted empathy, respect, and positive connections, helping to strengthen a supportive culture across all of our sites. Our school celebrated Read Across America Week last week by encouraging students to explore new stories and develop a lifelong love of reading, of course. I had the pleasure of visiting Little Owls, where I read with students in our special day classes. It was a wonderful reminder of the joy and power of sharing books together. It was a thrill. Thank you.
Thank you. Facilities Finance Subcommittee Report.
We have not met since the last meeting. Our next meeting is, what day was it?
It's on Monday.
On Monday. This is coming up Monday. March 23rd, sorry.
One thing to note, though, is on the 17th at 1 p.m., there will be a bus here. If anybody wants to come by and take a look at it, it'll be one of the buses that we're considering purchasing as part of a lease agreement with board approval, of course. But first, we're going to get a look at them. So I expect Michelle's going to be there.
Education Subcommittee report. I do not have anything to report since we have not met. George, do you have anything you'd like to report?
I do not. Thank you.
Fantastic. Policy and Management Subcommittee report.
So we have another meeting coming up on the 26th. I don't know if you would like to attend that meeting, because I will not. I'll be out of the country. If you want to attend with Ken, that should be fun. If you're available. I know you got a busy schedule. If you can, that'd be great. I'm sure Ken will love the company. So yeah, next meeting on the 26th.
I believe the next Education Subcommittee is also on the 26th at 4 o'clock. So same, if you'd like to come, then one is at 4 and one is at 5? Yes.
Is there a member going to be, yes, so George, if you call. Jackie will make sure that you say that.
And no pressure. If you can't come, that's okay. It'd be fun. All right, H, discussion subcommittee assignments. I asked Dr. Sahakian to move this onto our agenda from future agenda items, just so that we can have discussion. And I would like to just chit chat about if you are comfortable in your subcommittee assignment, if you would like to see change, if you would like to possibly move over to another one, and if anybody wants to change, we can add that to a future agenda item to go ahead and appoint and vote on those, but right now it's just a discussion.
Yeah, I think just because of my pending departure in June, Bill and I would like to switch spots, so he can be the chair and I'll remain on the subcommittee, and then it's at some point in June, then I won't be on it anymore at all. But I'll stay in it till I'm gone.
Do we need to vote? We never voted on chairs or anything, so you guys can just make that switch within your subcommittee, and we won't need to bring that back to a open session board meeting.
Sounds good.
I think that our, all of us being involved in a subcommittee, it's not been my experience that staff hasn't been at the lead of the subcommittee topics in the subcommittee I serve on. So I'm comfortable with, if something happens where there has to be reassignments to fill seats or something, I think I'm comfortable with the student rep sitting in, as long as there's not actions being taken that affect the benefits of the employees or things that would be a conflict of interest with students and things like that. So I don't see that there would be a problem if someone moves because someone vacates a seat, as long as we all understand the decorum issues when it comes to serving on the subcommittee, and it's not a means of making things happen underground. So that's what I have.
I may just want to move to one subcommittee. I know my schedule's going to get a little bit packed coming up in the next, maybe the next near 6 months. So I don't know if I'll have time for two, but I guess we'll play it by ear until then, unless somebody else wants to take on the other subcommittee. That's a good question. I like them both.
I'll make that decision for you.
I like them both. I don't know. I'll come back to you on a later date with that one, but yeah.
I'm good where I'm at.
And I was going to say I'm good where I'm at, but my main concern was George being on two subcommittees and how that affects your schedule. So we can just go ahead and leave things status quo for now, and then if it comes up again that you'd like to move, then we'll throw it back on the agenda.
I think by the time they depart, or his departure, I think I'll have a better idea of my schedule, because that's when it'll be impacted too. So then we can kind of adjust.
So
if we need to.
we'll be bringing this back in probably around June, so we won't need to
Yeah.
put this on future agenda items until June-ish. Does anybody else have any discussion regarding subcommittee assignments?
Let's do this. I think it would be okay, this is diving into an empty pool, and I understand the ramifications of it, but given what this is gonna look like, we may want to consider going into the safety committee or the PTO or something like that, to build capacity if we're gonna go through a shortage. So please have a talk of what that looks like. I do not want the self-proclaimed mainliners of the community coming in and using this as an agenda for inappropriate. I think the tone of the subcommittee work has been set and set well. So introducing people that are not on the board, I will say this, if I were going to run for a position on this board, and I have not attended any subcommittee meetings or attended board meetings either virtually or gone to any LCAP meetings, the learning curve for these seats is very steep. Okay, that's what I have, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion before we move on? All right, hearing none. 7I, submissions.
No submissions this evening. Thank you.
8A, approval of consent calendar items 8B through 8F. I'll move it in. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
If there are any items within the consent agenda that you'd like some explanations or clarification, I'm more than happy to go ahead and share that out. Thank you.
Discussion? Hearing none, call for question. All those in favor?
Mascot eye.
Fallsgraf, aye.
Jesus, aye.
Mays, aye.
Brianna Taxoni, aye. 9A, Personnel Report 25-26.11. I'll go ahead and move it in. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. There are no changes to the PAR report for March 12, 2026.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, call for question.
Mascot eye.
Fallsgraf, aye.
Jesus, aye.
Mays, aye.
Brianna Taxoni, aye. 9B, approval, construction consultant services agreement with Jackson McKelvey, not to exceed $22,000. I'll move it in.
I'll second.
Dr. Sahakian?
Yes, thank you. So consultant contract for our construction trades teacher at Vasquez High School through June 5th, if approved, not to exceed $22,000.
Discussion? Hearing none, call for question.
Mascot eye.
Fallsgraf, aye.
Jesus, aye.
Mays, aye.
Brianna Taxoni, aye. C, presentation AADUSD Long-Term Staff Culture and Client Care Service Excellence Plan. Dr. Sahakian.
Thank you, Ms. Taxoni. Just wait for the slides to come up. Thank you, Ms. McCauley. All right, I am thrilled and excited to be presenting to our board as well as to our district the Long-Term Staff Culture and Service Excellence Plan. This plan outlines our district's commitment to build a culture of kindness, professionalism, and service excellence. It aligns directly with our strategic goals and long-term organizational vision. Our focus is to create consistent experiences. Of course, priority number one is our students, families, staff, and the community that we serve, both Acton and Agua Dulce. Slide 2, building a culture of kindness and service excellence. This work reflects our district's commitment to kindness, professionalism, and service in every interaction. Culture, as we know, is not accidental. It takes effort to build as well as to break down. It is intentionally built through leadership, expectations, and modeling the correct behaviors. By aligning this work with our strategic goals that have been adopted a couple of years back, we ensure culture supports student success, which is the priority for our district, and builds community trust. Next slide, strategic alignment. I'm all for aligning. We have multiple plans between the LCAP, strategic goals, superintendent initiatives, board goals. I'm always for alignment of our work to make it intentional and deliberate. With that said, this plan directly supports strategic goal number 2, effective leadership and instruction. Strong culture strengthens leadership capacity, professionalism, and instructional support. It also advances goal number 3 in our plan, community engagement, by improving how we serve families and the communities that we serve. Ultimately, how we interact with each other shapes how we serve our students. Leadership and kindness. Kindness, we know, is not a weakness. It is leadership in action, hence the modeling component. Leadership sets the tone for respect, professionalism, and of course, accountability. When leaders model kindness and professionalism, it builds trust across the organization, and that trickles to the school sites as well. Bless you, Dr. Smith. The culture we create as adults directly impacts the climate our students experience. That is a given, and that's a non-negotiable. Next slide, why culture matters. A positive culture improves school climate and student success. If we have a positive school climate, students we know feel safe to learn. It strengthens staff collaboration and morale. Families and community partners experience consistent and respectful service, not only at the district office, but at the school sites and front offices. Strong culture builds trust, clarity, and alignment across the district. Next slide, guiding principles for service excellence. Students first, students are always first. Every interaction should support student success. We recognize that we are each other's customers internally. How we treat one another matters, which strengthens collaboration. Kindness and respect are non-negotiable expectations across the district. Personally, I was always taught that kindness always starts at home. And when we spend most of our time at work, kindness should start at work as well. Implementation roadmap. This is when we get into the nuts and bolts. Phase 1, district office foundation. We begin with the district office and model culture we expect from the organization and across the organization. This includes customer service training, establishing communication norms, and adopting the kindness resolution as a shared commitment. This work is not new. The district office team has undergone similar training, team building activities in the past, and we continue to discuss the needs of each department and the need for cross-functionality support. However, this plan takes what we've actually created, the foundation, it will take it to the next level. We started this work at the district office about a couple of years back. Customer service and communication training. District office staff participate in train focus on internal and external customer service, professional communication, responding to concerns with empathy, solution-oriented problem solving. Clear system and expectations. This plan introduces clear communication pathways, response timelines, and problem-solving protocols. Then phase 3 moves into the school site rollout. Once we've established and solidified our foundation here, then we'll move into the school site rollout. And again, just to kind of put out a disclaimer, this is a roadmap for about 2 to 3 years, the process for it to be into full implementation. Phase 3, school site rollout. After establishing the foundation at the district office, the same expectations, training, and tools are rolled out to principals and school sites, reinforcing consistency. Phase 4, district-wide integration. Over time, the goal is a sustainable cultural shift where kindness, professionalism, and service excellence are embedded in all of our practices, staff interactions, and how we serve our families and students that we support. Next slide. Vision for our district. Our goal is to become a district known for kindness and professionalism. Families experience exceptional service and strong communication, and I want to add there, timely communication. Staff work within a culture of collaboration, respect, and shared purpose. Positive culture strengthens student experience and community trust. Next slide, kindness resolution. On our agenda, folks, we have the service plan requesting approval, as well as a kindness resolution that's attached with greater detail, requesting approval this evening from our board. The kindness resolution formally affirms our commitment to respect, professionalism, and dignity across the district. Kindness supports student achievement, safety, connectedness, and engagement. It also supports PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention and Supports, SEL, Social and Emotional Learning Practices, and our LCAP, the Local Control Accountability Plan Priorities. And this plan will strengthen the LCAP as well. This is a district-wide commitment shared by students, staff, and families. Kindness becomes a guiding principle in our policies, leadership practices, and daily interactions. Again, this is a 2-3-year plan as culture is built one interaction at a time. And this concludes my presentation. And thank you for allowing me to present.
Thank you. Discussion?
Yeah, I really like what you put together there. I would add that in order to have that culture and have that be the reality for every child and the parents and everybody that's involved with the district, it really does start with the happiest employees, like just people that are thrilled to be here, that are supportive of each other. So I think that in every way we can, creating a culture where raving employees create raving customers, right? It's a Marriott Way book if you've ever read it, but that's a very important aspect of this.
Thank you, Mr. Ruskin.
So I think this aligns with the president's annual focus initiative. Thank you for getting this on paper and in front of the group. I think that the vision that you see on slide number 8 needs to be embedded in the screening process for any administrator that comes in this district. If I were on the panel and you're not familiar with this, you don't get a second interview.
Great presentation. Thank you.
Yes, good presentation, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mays.
I could go on and pick out something that I love on every slide. So I'll just agree with our board. Great presentation. And I do agree that when our staff is happy, it will trickle down to our students. And I know that the students can feel when the culture is the opposite, and that's kind of what the goal is, to always err on the side of the students and make every decision based on what is best for our students, and every move that we make what's best for our students, and definitely having a culture of kindness throughout our district and our community is 100% what's best for our students. And then once we receive that, then it's going to trickle down and to scores and to attendance and to relationship building and everything. But we can't do any of that, and we can't set goals for any of that without first setting this goal of having a culture of kindness and respect and just a general well-being for staff, students, families, and community. So I'm absolutely thrilled that this is on the agenda. Thank you very much. We will move on to 9D, Approval Kindness Resolution 2025-26.12, aligned to the district strategic goals. I'll move it in. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Just once again, just shared within the presentation and the last slide, the kindness resolution kind of provides a nice synopsis, which will go ahead and facilitate the work of the Culture and Service Excellence Plan, if approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, call for question. All those in favor?
Klaus, aye.
Mascot eye.
Falls Giraffe, aye.
DeSusa, aye.
Mesa.
Brianna Taxoni, overwhelming aye. Thank you very much for that. 10A, presentation AAD USD, second interim 2025-26 report.
All right.
Dr. Sahakian.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Taxoni. Getting the slides up for our second interim report to the board and to the community that we serve. So we had our first interim about 10 weeks ago, and moving into the second interim. Towards tail end of spring, we'll have our third interim report. So privileged to go ahead and present this. The second slide, types of certifications that we put forward with LA County Office of Education. Just to kind of go through the three elements that we could go ahead and select from. Again, we always want a positive certification. Based upon current projections, any school district will meet its financial obligations for the current fiscal year, as well as 2 fiscal years out. Qualified certification, which falls in the middle. Based upon current projections, any school district may not meet its financial obligations for the current year, as well as 2 years out. And we're not looking for a negative certification, and one certification that we have never received. Based upon current projections, any school district will not meet its financial obligations for the current as well as 2 fiscal years out. All right, next slide. Statewide enrollment trends, ongoing enrollment loss. Okay, out of the 80 districts within LA County, we are one of the only handful of districts that have gone up against the current trend that you see statewide as well as locally. Next slide, district enrollment trends. Although we have seen increases in our enrollment in the past 4 years, we are projecting in a conservative manner for the next 2 years out. Again, I want to state we have been seeing increasing enrollment for the last 4 years, about 10% on average, a trend that most districts have not seen. In addition, with enrollment comes our ADA increase, which we are projecting at 95%. So I want to thank the school sites for their ongoing messaging for the importance of attendance and students being in their seats, as well as attendance recovery initiatives such as Saturday school, as well as short-term independent study initiative. And a lot of that discussion, of course, came and percolated through the education subcommittee, so thank you there. Next slide, California projected revenues. Again, if you can see the slides, the numbers that you see there are in the billions. So we're providing a bird's eye view here. As far as corporate tax, sales and use tax, as well as additional personal income tax, really is what drives the revenues for the state of California. Again, the fiscal amounts that you see on the slides are in the billions. Next slide. Second interim building blocks, and this will be for revenue. So cost of living adjustment, COLA as we know it. You'll see 3 years out, 26, 27, 27, 28, 28, 29 projected anticipated percentages. And we won't know certain for the 26, 27 COLA until we see the governor's May revise in the next couple of months. Our LCFF enrollment helps to drive the LCFF, the funding formula, currently at 1,126, as well as the average daily attendance of 95%, which is our current trend. In addition, federal revenues include our mental health grant, our STOP grant, which came from the Department of Justice, Title I, II, III, IV, as well as special education funding. In addition, on the second column, additional state revenues, state lottery, arts block grant, arts and music in schools, one-time funding coming from student support and professional development block grant, and ELOP, expanded learning opportunities. Next slide. First interim versus second interim for this fiscal year. So LCFF revenue increased due to enrollment numbers from first interim to second, as well as the projected increase in ADA. What you'll see in the variance column to the right of the slide is an increase that you see based on the additional revenue injection. In addition, we see an increase also from 2 funding sources: the student support discretionary block grant, which is one-time funding, as well as one-time funding coming from the learning recovery block grant, which is about $50,000. Next slide. Revenues for 25-26. injection to the general fund balance. What you'll see here, on the plus side, we had an increase with state revenue in our ELOP funds of 400,000, student support block grant of 223,000, the learning recovery block grant, which I mentioned was 50,000, and the majority of our district's revenue does come from LCFF funding. Next slide, please. Second interim building blocks, now the expenditures. Of course, we know salaries and health and welfare really hit the bottom dollar when it comes to expenditures for any and all districts. Certificated salaries, FTEs, 76, classified at about 77 FTEs. Employee benefits, STRS, PERS, which are the retirement systems, Medicare, unemployment insurance, medical insurance, retiree benefits, workman's comp. In addition, for expenditures, books and supplies, adoptions of new materials, instructional materials, etc. Services and operating expenses, contracts, travel and conferences, workshops, insurance, PD. In addition, capital outlay, furniture equipment. And at times, we need to do an inter-fund transfer out for food services, child development, adult ed, what have you. And those are just internal processes. Next slide. So budget assumptions that we make in building the second interim. So the expected, the step and column increase, certificated average and classified is 2% as individuals move up the step and column. Naturally, from year to year, it's about 2% increase. You see the Cal STRS rate projection at 19.10%. You see the Cal PERS. Now, I won't go line by line, but you see the percentages there. This school year, 25-26, we had negotiation settlements for both certificated and classified. Certificated settled 3% on, 3% off increase, and 2%, 2,000 injection for health and welfare from employer contribution. Classified for this year, 3% on schedule, 3% off, and 1,000 health and welfare additional contribution from the district. Next slide, please. Second interim versus first interim expenditures for this fiscal year. For certificated and classified salaries, you'll see an increase of expenditure compared to first interim report due to the settled, as I mentioned, the 3% and 3% off increase. With a previously mentioned health and welfare employer contribution that were settled, you will also see an increase here for second interim. For books and supplies, the amount that you see here is a placeholder for first and second interim for textbook adoptions and so forth. If we don't encumber these for this fiscal year, we just move this amount to the next fiscal year, so it carries over. Services and operating expenses is typically earmarked for professional services, materials, and supplies for the school year. Next slide. General fund expenditures. This pie chart, which nicely illustrates general expenditures, as we know, the bulk is typically, like I mentioned before, salaries and benefits for employees. Next slide. Multi-year projections from 25 to 2030. As you see in the next 4-year span, we continue with deficit spending. We will continue to tackle expenditures in a mindful and conservative nature with the support of Facilities and Finance Subcommittee, of course, and their efforts, along with maintaining and increasing enrollment and ADA percentages, will be at the forefront of our task. The reserves remain healthy with the 4% minimum threshold, which is required for smaller districts such as AADUSD. Next slide, please. Next steps, managing the road ahead. In the month of June, we have our adopted budget approved through the LCAP as well and approved by our board. Then we move into the month of September, where we look at the unaudited actuals for the previous year. Like I mentioned earlier, the first interim for 25-26 was presented in the month of December. In January, districts do receive the governor's proposed budget for the next fiscal year, in this case 26-27. Currently presenting the second interim for 25-26 in the month of March. As we know, governors may revise, which really kind of solidifies what we're looking at for the following year. It comes in the month of May. And in the month of May, we have our third interim. And then at that point in time, we decipher if we're going to have a positive certification, qualified, or a negative certification. Next slide, please. The California Ed Code 42-128 requires school district governing boards to approve and certify these reports. And what we are recommending with our second interim is a positive certification for 25-26 with the report that has been presented this evening. And with that, any questions, please? Thank you.
I would just like to point out that if we continue on the trend that we're on from from deficit spending, that we're 5 years away from negative certification. If we don't change something or figure out a way to improve revenues. Based on the end of this report for the 2030 school year, 2030-2031 school year, we will have $400,000 in reserves going into that year, or by the end of that school year. So at some point, this trend has to reverse in a meaningful way, or this stops working.
Thank you, Mr. Meskin. Noted.
Okay, I'm going to burn my time here tonight. I started attending school board meetings in January of 2012. The Acton-Agua News, my favorite newspaper in the whole world, listed a comment that I made there. I remember that night there was some controversy over funding and coaching. I remember clearly. Sometimes it seems like Groundhog Day to me. But then, about 2014, the district in one of these meetings had to declare negative certification. A county agent came in and sat in the chair, and the meetings were at Meadowlark, sat in the chair, and basically anything that the district was going to do financially that was going to worsen its fiscal, yeah, this is kicking in and out. You can hear it. No, I'm just concerned that somebody in the audience is hanging on my every word. Maybe we could take some of the budget excess and get that person a life. But I remember that it was very contentious because the person would follow everybody into the closed session. So the board and the superintendent's office lost the capacity to make decisions. There it went again. No, I don't want yours. I want mine, Nurse Ratchet. Where'd that come from? But in 2014, negative certification. So then there was a meeting at Agua Dulce. We're going to have a magnet school. So we're going from not paying our bills to a magnet school. There was all kinds of things being brought forward. So then the charter thing came forward. That solved everybody's problem. The county said, no, no, no. I came onto the board at 2016. I don't even want to get into all that. But within 2 years, the state auditor was in here. There was arrests made in San Diego, and the district paid $750,000 to settle with the San Diego court. When did our school start answering to Judge Link in the San Diego court? And when did the people who I asked questions on a meeting about March 23rd, would have been about 2018, 5 people stood at that microphone. I asked them the same questions that they were indicted on a few months later for theft of $80 million of the kids' money. And they sat there and lied to me while 2 of the board members were beating on me. It's all over the TV. If you can find it, it's wonderful. I hate being right all the time. It's a burden. Anyway, people ended up in jail. We had to give money back. What is, at the end of the day, what can I fund with $750,000. Well, wait a minute. Here, let's do this. Do not go to the swimming pool. I will blow up on the swimming pool. Well, guess what? Somebody was saying the county, well, I was running all the park systems in the best city wherever, and the county was doing an audit, a spatial audit of where the people are, where the libraries are, where the parks are, where the baseball fields are. I was embedded in that at work while somebody on this board was telling me, oh, the county is going to come in and buy our pool and pay for the gym. Yeah, don't even go there. And I just sitting here like, oh, this is my first day in government business. Right. But Brianna, since you volunteered to put your fingers in my cage tonight, and we're going to stick with what your initiatives, the kindness initiative, what could you do specifically if you had $750,000 to invest in the kindness initiative in the schools? What would you do? Not go to jail for charter school theft would probably be my first guess. Yeah, so we had after everybody decided to get out of here before they were the next group, I wish they would have dug into the superintendent. I wish they would have got to the superintendent and gotten him singing like a canary. Yeah, I'm still here. Where are you at? So at the end of the day, we brought in a superintendent. He got everybody to realize we're not going to steal from you guys anymore or waste your educational money. Our bill for the lawyer for the charter schools is $500,000. You get in the Santa Clarita paper, there's an article called I'll Show You Mine If You Show Me Yours. I put my salary, my complete benefit package history on there and then do a breakdown of every superintendent in the SELPA, S-E-L-P-A, which is the 10 school districts, and look at the school districts and what the average cost per superintendent to the student, including the legal fees. At that time, there was just a tad, I think it was $487. Look it up, you'll find it. It was in the Santa Clarita paper. Once I got out of here in my favorite newspaper, the Acton-Agua News, then the world started blowing up. But we were spending $487 a student on charter law. So here comes Dr. Sahakian. No more $4 million of slush fund. So he gets his grants. He replaces stuff. We've got teams here. I'm going to say it one more time. I don't care if you like it or not. Hate it. Hating me is the best thing you could possibly do. I said, I want to reduce fiscal dependence on out-of-boundary charters was number one. Number two was restore focus on local students. And number three was restore the good name of the district in the greater educational marketplace because everybody was suing us. None of the colleges would have anyone to do with us. The teachers were being basically messaged, it doesn't matter how many kids you have in your classroom. We're doing personal wealth building over here. You've been forgotten. The kids were forgotten. The sports program was failing, and just in numbers. So when we talk about, Lester is talking about, because he's got somebody beating on him for money in Holland somewhere, which is what the private world is like. If you don't have money and you're not making money, they will bring someone in who can make money. That's the way it works. And then you fill out your hurt feelings form and go home. But at the end of the day, we're in a good place programmatically. But, yeah, we have to watch the numbers because I've witnessed what this does. And I don't like Groundhog Day much. Okay, guys, thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. 10B, approval contract Christie White and Associates. I'll move it in.
I'll second.
Thank you. If approved, this is a 3-year contract that would span through 27-28 fiscal year. Christie White and Associates have been our long-serving CPAs who have been conducting our required internal budgeting audits, which we are required to go ahead and submit to the LA County Office of Education annually. The district audit, can't read my notes. The district audit can be found on pages 7 and 9. The fees for the district audit, forgive me, can be found on the attachment pages 7 and 9, ranging from $28,650 to $31,500. Those will be the fees, because it is a 3-year span contract, current year, fiscal year, going through 27, 28. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, call for question. All those in favor?
Mask on, aye.
Falls drop by.
Jesus, aye.
Mays, aye.
Brianna Taxoni, aye. All right, 11, board comments.
I'll keep mine brief tonight. Always happy to be here, always happy to contribute and participate, and I'm actually looking forward to checking out the new buses next week, so that should be interesting. But thank you.
I'm good, thanks.
Thank everybody for attending, and thank you, our hardworking principals back there. Thank you for always joining us here at the board meeting. Appreciate that, and thank you for the staff for their hard work and dedication.
All right, yeah, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Ms. Yolanda, for running this thing. You did a great job. That's all I have.
I wanted to comment on Meadowlark's Read Across America. I was able to attend, and I read 4 classes with my very favorite librarian in the whole wide world. I got to walk around with the Meadowlark's librarian. She introduced me to classes, and I read Green Eggs and Ham. She read Wacky Wednesday. It was an absolute blast. Just a thrill to be there with. I so miss working at Meadowlark and working with little kids. They're super fun. So that was a big highlight of my month, was reading. I look forward to that every year. As far as the bus tour, I have had the opportunity to walk the new buses at the annual education conference that I went to in December, both this past year and previous years, and they are super nice. So I probably won't show up, Lester, on Tuesday. I won't take off work for that, but I would be excited for our school to be able to get new buses. That'd be fantastic, because I have walked them, and our kids would be lucky to have those. Huge congratulations to our boys basketball team for just making it as far as they have, and really putting our school and our sports program and their team on the map. I was actually in a job interview, and the job interview turned to how Vasquez's boys basketball team was doing, and that was right before their last game. So we chit-chatted about that for about 10 minutes. It was a little bit awkward, but very cool. I was a very proud board member. Didn't get the job, but I was very proud of our boys basketball team, and it was very cool that people in other districts are watching and recognizing the talent in our district. That was awesome. So congrats, boys basketball. And that is all I have. So 12A calendar, we have a board meeting coming up on March 26th. And then we will not have our first board meeting in the beginning of April due to Easter and spring break. And then we will have April 23rd. I know that we are missing some, correct?
I will not be here for the 26th.
Okay, no Lester on the 26th, and you're gone on the 26th as well. So if it's just going to be the 3 of us, so if either of you can't make it, please let us know. If there's anything on the 26th agenda that can be moved out to April 23rd, just so that we can always have the majority of board members here, that would be great. Of course, if anything's time sensitive, that's fine. Future agenda items. We don't have anything listed. Do we have anything we need to add? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move to adjournment. Recommended we adjourn at 8:25. I'll move that in. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Call for question?
Mask on, aye.
Falls drop by.
Jesus, aye.
Mays, aye.
Brianna Taxoni, aye. Thank you.